With the Scrambler, Ducati has a hit on its hands. I can't help thinking even Ducati's surprised by the level of its own success. Last year Ducati shifted 16,000 Scramblers. It's hard to review the Scrambler as a bike because it's never been just a bike. It's a brand, in the same way Disneyland's more than just a bloke in a mouse suit. The entry-level 62 is the first brand extension. This 400cc V-twin is designed to engage younger riders who might be a little bit intimidated by the 75 horsepower 800cc bigger brother. The name 62, according to Ducati, is the year the original Scrambler was launched. I reckon it's the number of Instagram filters Ducati applied to the average Scrambler marketing photo. Currently the mean age of the Scrambler owner is 37, but Ducati wants to drive this figure down. Wheedle out a few more grey hairs from its demographic. The road test was a red light tour of town. I sat in every single traffic light in Barcelona. At least the rain kept my mind occupied on something other than traffic lights. Okay, so it sounds like I'm complaining, but to be fair, the damp, congested city streets are actually the natural home for the Urbane 62. In many ways it's the perfect city bike, even more so than the larger Scrambler. Its lights, the weight is planted low, and the wide bars are ideal for navigating through heavy traffic. Not so good, sure, for squeezing between the very tightest gaps, but it's good for getting leverage in narrow turning circles. The 400cc Scrambler is more than enough through town, and with that flat torque curve it won't send the rear spinning out of control on wet cobblestones or tram lines. Does it look cold? Well, it was, and I was typically underdressed, partly because it hadn't rained in Barcelona for 100 days and BBC weather lied to me. So I welcomed the heat that churns out from the air-cooled engine. My left thigh in particular was toasty. I reckon during the summer months the underfloor heating won't be quite so pleasant. Losing half the engine capacity does not halve the price of the Scrambler 62. At £6,450 it's only £800 cheaper than the 800cc Scrambler Icon. It seems a bit steep for an A2 bike, but here's the reasoning. Firstly, Ducati views itself as a premium product and does not want to dilute its brand with a low-spec stinker. Secondly, 60% of the bike is the same. So the 62 loses the upside-down forks of its predecessor and gets a smaller rear tyre, but in the saddle, honestly, you do well to notice the difference. The 62 feels more like a premium bike than any other A2 class on the market that I've ridden. There's nothing cheap or plasticky about it. As a case in point, that teardrop tank design is exactly the same that's used on the top of the range £9,000 Flat Track Pro. It's only when you open the throttle you realise you're not riding the 800. Rev the 62 past 6,000 RPM and it bursts into life. It's willing, even if its real-world performance can't quite match its ambition. For newly qualified riders, 41 horsepower is more than enough power for thrills. In fact, for experienced riders alike, it's enough power for some fun on the right roads, even if you're pushing beyond the limits of the bike. The suspension, for starters, is a lot softer compared to the larger Scramblers. This is no bad thing around town, and I was able to cruise over speed humps, which forced the hordes of scooter riders to slow down to a crawl. The brakes too are designed with novices in mind, and the 320mm front disc never bites with a snap, but is applied smoothly and predictably. Rainy Barcelona was a good test for the ABS, and even over the cobbles it kicked in early and slowed me to a gradual stop. After a day in the saddle, my clutch hand felt sore. The number of traffic lights didn't help, sure, but the Mini Scrambler inherits Ducati's trademark firm clutch action. Looking at the photos of myself, it's probably clear to me that I'm a bit too tall to look natural in the short saddle of the 62. That said, other than the first symptoms of a numb bum, I didn't feel too uncomfortable on board the bike. Now, as a cynical hack, I'm supposed to sneer at the land of joy. But I'm not going to. Instead, I think Ducati should be knighted for its services to the motorcycle industry. I mean, we'd all like there to still be motorbikes in 20 years' time, so logically, we're going to need some younger riders getting into biking. It's fair to say the 62's come in for criticism largely on account of its price and its horsepower. But at the risk of stating the obvious, if you feel this way, then clearly the 62 isn't the bike for you. This is for people who want to buy into the Scrambler brand, and for whom an A2 licence rather than the cash is the restriction. When I wrote the review, somebody said, "I'm sure it's a great bike, Tom, but would you buy one?" Well, no, I wouldn't, but then I'm not the target market. I've got a full motorcycle licence, I've been riding for more than 15 years. If I had the cash, I'd go out and buy an XSR 700. It's cheaper, it's more powerful, it's more fun, and it's more practical. But the XSR has one problem and one problem only: it doesn't say Ducati Scrambler on the tag. You see, Yamaha can't just build a better bike than Ducati and expect to outsell it. The Japanese also have to build a better brand than Ducati. And there's the rub. I'm giving the Scrambler 62 the thumbs up. It's a premium product at a premium price, but with the performance and styling to justify it. For many people, this will be their first taste of biking. I just wish my first proper bike had been this good.